Thank you so much for having us tonight. Tonight we have the pleasure of bringing to life another Sarah Congress blockbuster hit, COVID-19 Bachelor Number Five. So we're going to do a reading of this new piece by Sarah Congress. And while we do, because it's on Zoom, probably the best thing to do while you are watching is to mute yourself and stop your video. And that way, we're gonna have the two actors and just their videos appear on the screen. Does everybody know how to do that? Looks like everybody knows, okay. And then if you want, for best viewing, you can go up to the right and it says view, and there's a speaker view and a gallery view. And there's also the option of show non-video participants. And we want to not show non-video participants. So there we go. If anybody has any questions for me about that, you can feel free to message me in the chat if you're having any tech issues. All right, so basically, hi, I'm Miriam Grill. I'm a theater and media director and also a choreographer. And I work with the delightful Sarah Congress for a couple years now. And it's been a wonderful collaboration, a wonderful artistic friendship, as well as just a friendship. And we've first started working together at the Road Theater in LA when I directed one of her readings, The Legal Secretary. And since then, we have just been thick as thieves, kind of developing different pieces, all the way from musicals like Lars Hostel to readings with different theater companies like Wild Child with Squeaky Wheels Productions. This last summer, we did an interesting experimental prototyping with a play that we adapted to Zoom and did lots of interactive features. And now we're so happy to be here. So tonight we have two actors for you. Dawn Elizabeth Clements is going to be playing Isabella, and we have Yoni Bernstein, who will be playing Michael. So I'm going to read the stage directions, and your only job is just to listen and sit back and enjoy. Without much ado, we will start. COVID-19 Bachelor Number 5 by Sarah Congress. Characters: Isabella, 25, an unemployed chef and a Democrat, originally from New Jersey. Michael, 25, an advertising copywriter and a Republican, originally from Staten Island. Time, the present. Setting, the deck of a Staten Island ferry. Lights up on the deck of the Staten Island ferry. Isabella, fixing her hair, uses her iPhone camera. Michael appears. He stands 6 feet apart from her.
Are you Isabella?
I am Isabella.
Thank goodness.
And you're Michael, I'm assuming / hoping.
I am Michael. Oh, sorry,
Oh,
I keep forgetting.
it's okay. These are such weird times.
They are indeed. Do you want to sit on the bench? I'm sure it's sterilized.
Looks a little damp from the rain earlier. Here. Good as new.
Smart thinking. I'm so glad you're Isabella. I thought this woman over there might be her, but because she was about your height and had the same hair color, so I went up to her and I introduced myself. It turns out her name wasn't Isabella, her name was Cheryl. You know.
Cheryl? Who on earth's name is Cheryl?
My mother's name is Cheryl.
I can't tell if you're joking or not.
Oh, I'm actually not joking. My mother is Cheryl O. Sullivan. Now, she kept her last name from her second marriage.
Oh, Cheryl is a great name, and also one of my favorite characters off of Riverdale.
Really? Huh, I'm more of an F.P. Jones fan. I'm really glad you're okay with us meeting on the ferry. I thought that it would be a smart way to stay in the open air, you know, and all of our texting these past few weeks, I gathered that you like the outdoors.
I'll definitely give you points for creativity. Can't say I've ever had a first date on the Staten Island ferry.
Have you been on many dates during quarantine? I mean,
Have I been on many dates during the quarantine? Good question.
I feel like I'll match with people on a dating app and we'll like text for several days or a week even, but it's so hard to meet up during a pandemic, so nothing ever happens past the texting.
I guess this is my 13th date since COVID started.
You've gone on 13 first? Wow, I guess I'm lucky number 13 then.
Well, 4 of them were FaceTimes with the same actor and gym trainer guy, Jason, in Brooklyn. And then 2 of them were social distance hangs with Raymond, a furloughed airline pilot in Midtown.
You don't really have to
And
list
then
them all.
there was Patrick, a very successful CBD startup Instagram influencer who ended up canceling last minute because he had a temperature on the morning of our date. Turned out it was just a severe case of the shingles, not COVID.
Yikes, poor Patrick.
So technically, you are COVID Bachelor number 5.
COVID Bachelor number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I lived in New York for years, but this is actually my very first time riding the Staten Island ferry. So,
Really? I love the ferry. I'm biased though. I grew up in Staten Island near Fresh Kills.
fresh what?
Kills.
Who lives in that town? Hannibal Lecter?
No. It's not like a murder capital or anything.
Should I be worried being alone on a boat with you?
Yes, quick! Go grab a life jacket before I strangle you to death and throw you overboard. Interestingly enough, at one point in time, Fresh Kills held the title as the world's largest garbage landfill.
I'm from New Jersey, so I get it.
Oh, really? My girlfriend lives in the Atlantic Highlands.
I know. You mentioned that several times over text already. So, how has your pandemic been so far?
No, it's fairly quiet. Most days teleworking from my bed. I downloaded a lot of books to my Kindle that I keep saying I'll read, but never actually read. Yourself?
It's been pretty devastating. My best friend's dad died, and my next door neighbor died, and the restaurant that I used to cook at went bankrupt. I couldn't afford to pay my rent in June for my studio apartment and was almost evicted.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, 2020, not my year.
Do you have a place to live now?
Oh, yes. Luckily, that all got sorted out.
Thank heavens.
I have a roommate named Clyde to help with living expenses, and my unemployment check started coming in.
I see. I see. So let me get this straight. You're living with a strange male roommate in a tiny New York City studio apartment?
Oh, Clyde isn't strange. I've known him for years from the restaurant. He's an incredibly gifted Australian mixologist studying to get his real estate license. He also does some modeling every now and then. Oh my God. Like, he keeps joking that we should get married so he can get a green card.
Too funny.
Oh, Clyde.
She's already living with someone. Why is she here?
Fun times with Clyde.
You know, I find it somewhat surprising that despite all the craziness you're going on in your life, all the craziness going on in your life, you're still going on dates.
I'm single. Why wouldn't I go on dates?
Well, one could argue that since your life is in such a state of flux and upheaval with losing your job and almost losing your home and living with Clyde, that it might not be the best time to go on dates with people from dating apps.
Do I make you uncomfortable or something?
No, not at all.
Oh, well, I feel like you're attacking me.
No, I didn't mean for it to come off that way. I'm just trying to understand your situation and what it is that you're looking for.
I'm looking to meet the right man to date.
Not the right man to save you from your situation?
Excuse me?
You just seem to be going through a lot of personal things right now, and I wanted to make sure you were ready to date people.
I don't need saving. I just need indoor dining to be allowed again so I can go back to work.
But you live with someone?
Yes, a man friend temporarily while I'm unemployed. Is that a problem?
No, it's not a problem.
You're sure?
I'm sure.
You don't seem sure.
It's not what I would do, but
Yeah, hey, I wish I was at home teleworking in bed, counting the money in my savings account and binge watching the Great British Bake Off show, but that's not how my tarot cards landed for me. If you want me to go on the other side of the fairy deck and leave you alone, I can. I'm a big girl. I can get off on the right stop.
oh, there's only 2 stops, Staten Island Ferry or the ferry terminal in Manhattan.
Don't mansplain. It's a figure of speech.
I wasn't mansplaining. I was just genuinely concerned that you may not know that there are only 2 stops, and since your first time on the Staten Island Ferry. Isabella, can we start over?
That depends. How long is this ferry ride?
About 25 minutes each way.
All right. We can start over.
Thank you. And this time around, I promise not to mention your unemployment.
Great. And maybe try not to talk so much about your ex in New Jersey.
Only if you stop talking about your thousands of successful COVID-19 Hinge dates.
They weren't all from Hinge. I'm also on Bumble and Meet Me and Tinder. Hi, I'm Isabella.
Michael.
Too bad there isn't a bar on this ferry.
I would murder someone for a vodka seltzer. Not that I'm a murderer, Isabella, despite being from Fresh Kills.
Let's play a game.
What kind of a game? I suffer from GSAD, game stress anxiety disorder. It took me over a year of therapy to recover from a very competitive round of Cards Against Humanity at a New Year's Eve party.
If money and health were of no concern, what would you do on a perfect first date?
Spend the afternoon at a museum.
Okay. Money is of no object. You can travel anywhere and do anything you want.
Well, if that's the case, then maybe I'd go take my date to the Bahamas. Curling, tanning on the beach, drinking margaritas in the pool, watch the show the resort puts on.
So your idea of a perfect first date is basically a 5-day all-inclusive trip to the Caribbean you'd find on Groupon.
Now that you mention it, I guess it is. How about you?
Lights up on Paris.
Classy.
My date and I have spent the entire afternoon strolling through Notre Dame and the catacombs and the Louvre. We end our night at a small restaurant, sitting outside in the cool air, drinking wine and eating moules frites.
Yum. I'm a third
And
French
a
Canadian, by the way.
musician appears and plays something beautiful on his guitar. We gaze into each other's eyes and we kiss. Do you think we'll ever get to do things like that again?
Most of the things you described were outdoor activities, and I thought the CDC said those were okay.
I mean, do you think people will ever be able to live carelessly with all the same sense of freedom and trust again? Or is it gone forever? Like the days of handshakes?
As soon as there's a vaccine, things will be right as rain.
I'm not sure about all that, but I admire your optimism.
Try my best to stay positive. It's good for the immune system.
Yeah, it's hard to remain hopeful with the climate change and all the awful shootings from civil unrest and Donald Trump. I feel like he's leading this country off a cliff into extinction.
Don't blame all this on Trump. That's just not fair. You know, it's not like he and Putin scurried into a laboratory one night and invented coronavirus on behalf of big business.
Oh, wait a minute. Your profile said you were a liberal.
Yeah, I am liberal. Liberal Republican.
Well, this has been fun.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Being a Republican is that much of a deal breaker?
You voted for Donald Trump.
I did not vote for Donald Trump. I voted for John Kasich in the 2016 primaries, and in the general election, I chose not to vote because I didn't like Clinton or Trump.
It doesn't matter. We could never date. Goodbye.
Why not? I'm a human being with blood flowing through my veins just like you.
That's debatable.
How can such a well-educated, worldly woman completely write me off just for following my own set of morals?
Because your morals spit on my morals.
I've never spit on anything in my life, not even at the dentist.
The thing is, I believe in and fight for gay marriage, abortion, health care for all, our intrinsic human rights, and to support anything else will be a crime against humanity. Goodbye.
I want to grab your arm, but I can't because of social distancing. Listen, okay? I believe in marriage, providing that the two people, whatever their gender, are truly in love. And I support abortions, not as a form of contraception, but for cases like rape or for an underlying risk to the woman's body. But health insurance for all, Isabella, keep dreaming. It's just never going to happen. You want health insurance? Go get a job like the rest of us. The United States isn't here to babysit you.
God, people like you make me sick.
People like me?
Money people.
I write advertising copy. I'm not like Jeff Bezos over here.
What if someone can find a job and therefore can't get health insurance?
The internet is free. Anybody can job hunt and find a job.
The internet is not always free.
Then said person could go to a Starbucks.
You have to be able to afford a beverage in Starbucks in order to use their Wi-Fi network.
Oh, come on. Not everyone is Tiny Tim from A Christmas Carol. Most people can afford to buy a bottle of water and use the internet in a Starbucks.
But where are they going to sit and use the internet? If it's a pandemic, they can't be indoors.
These aren't normal times.
Well, honey, these are the times we live in. And look at me. I had a 3.7 GPA in high school and went to a well-known culinary school, and I almost got evicted.
We're not talking about your unemployment, remember. It's not a good first date topic.
If it wasn't for Clyde, I'd be living on the street.
If you say Clyde's name one more time, I will jump into the water.
Clyde.
See, this is the problem. It's not COVID, it's this. It's the fact that nobody is willing to compromise anymore. It's either their way or the highway. And I blame the internet. It spoiled us. It gave us too many options. Don't like the YouTube song that's playing? Click next. Hate your current neighborhood? Google search and find a new one. Unhappy with your spouse, political party, retirement package, mortgage rate? Here's 1,400,000 different options, all just a click away. We won't accept anything into our psyche that isn't what we like. We're evolving away from listening to any factor opinion that isn't our factor opinion, and that scares me, and it should scare the world. Anyway, you're mad at me, so feel free to go to the other side of the ferry deck. I won't bother you. Okay? Have a safe and healthy rest of your pandemic, and enjoy your many, many, many online suitors.
You know something? Your theory reminds me of when people come to the restaurant I work at and want to make all these annoying substitutions to the dish that I created. And it's like, why can't you open up and try something new instead of dictating the menu you're comfortable with?
I never thought about that, but yes.
Diner, listen to an expert. I'm a chef, you're not. So don't substitute the fennel risotto for steamed broccoli.
Well, I don't know, Isabella. What if that person has a gluten intolerance? How very intolerant of you.
I can and I will throw you overboard. Let's play a new game.
Or are we done playing Crucify Michael, the liberal Republican?
For the time being, yes.
Okay, what's the new game?
We're both God, and we're going to sit here overlooking the Atlantic Ocean and build a new world.
Sounds fun. I get a flow chart of my administrative angel support staff.
Human resources will have that forwarded to you momentarily on a cloud.
I suppose the first item on the agenda would be to end this pandemic.
I second the motion. And while we're on diseases, I like to cure cancer
And Alzheimer's.
and heart disease.
Next, job security. Let's have some.
Pensions for all.
And beach houses.
I can attach a mandatory vacation home to the job security bill and send it to Congress.
Everyone should have summers off.
And all clothing stores must have weekly designer sample sales.
Can we have a National Pancake Day?
Don't we already have a National Pancake Day?
There's already a National Pancake Day?
Surely IHOP started one.
Now arriving, St. George Ferry Terminal.
Do you want to get off? I can show you around Fresh Kills.
As tempting as that sounds, I think I'm a Manhattan gal.
Do you want me to get off?
What for?
To leave you and your democratic notions at peace?
Do you want to get off?
If you want me to get off, I can get off. Do you want me to get off?
It sounds so sexual.
What, get off?
No, I could use a friend for the ride home.
An even prettier view on the way back.
I have no doubt.
But Clyde doesn't ever offer to get you off.
Michael.
I wish my name was Clyde.
Look at her. Lady Liberty.
She's something, all right. Isabella, the bar is officially open.
Thank you, sir.
What do we toast to?
Better days.
They clink glasses. Lights out. End of play. Woo! Feel free to turn your video back on and unmute yourself, and you can applause the actors and Sarah. Woo!
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Made me laugh out loud in spots.
It was supposed to be very serious, Auntie Kim. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right.
Only right.
Love you, Sarah. That was fun
Thank you.
and depressing at the same time.
Hi, Sarah. This is Richard. We enjoyed it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that
Really did enjoy it.
Let's give a hand.
Mwah.
Awesome actors, director.
Yeah,
Yay!
Hey, Sarah, that was fabulous.
well done.
Acting
Very
was
well done.
excellent.
Very, very, so glad not to be in the dating scene. Anyway,
Oh, it's
Sarah.
Sarah.
Sarah, my mom would be proud.
Goodness. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's high praise. Very.
that is high praise, actually.
Awesome. Miriam, what was it like directing over Zoom?
Zoom has its own challenges. The audio can be a challenge, especially if if the internet gives out a little bit. And I think there just is a little extra grace maybe needed from the audience and the rest of us to forgive the technicalities. But it is interesting, the more readings and the more things that are happening online, the more people are getting used to virtual backgrounds, the audio in and out. It's just become a sort of normal medium now for me to direct in.
Well, the setup was actually perfect for the piece. And I love the location of the Staten Island Ferry. I mean,
If someone wrote it for Zoom, what kind of writer would do that?
yeah, but it works.
Crazy writer would just like sit and write a play for Zoom. Isn't me. bored teleworking.
So smart.
You mean they weren't on the ferry? I'm confused.
I'm sorry, I think we need to silence the person on the bottom. I don't know where IT is, but we need to. Yanni and Isabella, what was it like acting on Zoom for the Knowledge Project today?
Oh, it was so much fun. And thank you again, Sarah and Miriam, for like allowing us to be a part of this. I want to say this is my second time doing something on, a piece on Zoom. So it's very interactive. You have to get with the groove and everything, but I loved it. And your piece is amazing. Amazing. So congratulations to you.
Woohoo.
Yeah, this is my first Zoom acting piece where I've been in a scene with someone, and Dawn implicitly, we went to school together, so it worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
It's just a different mental space that really works actually, because TV is great. We were trained for TV too, so it feels connected to that also.
Yes. And I also have to add that I'm very grateful for this experience, because I feel like this is going to be the new normal for acting for a while, especially us being in a pandemic. So to get used to this, and thank you for training us at this moment, because this was a teaching experience for me too. So thank you.
I have a question actually for Dawn and Yoni, which is, I'm always so amazed, when you're speaking to the character in your scene partner, you're actually looking at the camera, right?
Yeah.
So you're not actually looking at someone's face. What is that experience like when I guess it's more akin to green screen acting, or how would you describe it? What are some techniques that you use during that?
I would say that initially I thought I would not like it, because my instinct is to just look at Dawn and play off of Dawn, and if I can't look at Dawn, then that's something that is hard. But actually I think it's a good way to focus, if that makes sense. I found it actually really conducive to just reacting and just suspending disbelief. It's it's okay just to make peace with it. I think half of acting, or even more than half of acting, is just making peace with the things that aren't real, if that makes sense.
No, I completely agree with Yoni. It's the same thing when you told me to make sure I look to my right, to make sure I'm looking off into the water. It's the same thing, like a focal point. So yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the things that we did in the prep for this, is you still have to walk the actors through the physical world so that they know where the points are. So to the left is the ferry wall, to the right is the ocean, to the left down near your elbow is the bench that you need to wipe. So they have to keep all these things in their mind while they're doing this.
So they don't see, when you run it, you're the one who's seeing the both of them. But do you work with one of them first and the other? You do a reading first together and then work with one and the other?
For this one, we worked with both of them simultaneous. And then what I like to do is I like to base everything really off of the characters. I want to make sure that the characters, the objectives, the relationships are clear, the beats are clear. And then when we have that, then it's all right, you're also going to be with a virtual background. Okay, where's your light? So then we bring in all the tech stuff. But for me, I always like to have the core being the relationship between these two characters.
That worked brilliantly. It did. You sense the tensions and sort of setting or assessing each other, checking each other out in the beginning. And then it got easier, and then it got tight again. So you went back and forth.
Yeah. And Sarah wrote,
Yeah.
One of the things, and I think Yoni maybe also talked about it, is how this play pivots so much. It's oh, they start out awkward. Oh, but they're okay. Oh, no, they're not. And there's so many like pivots that it's so great. It's like a musical score.
Yeah.
Well, it's also because people are like that anyway. Is I know who she is. Oh, I know who he is, and then he'll back off, or she'll come back around. Because I didn't think you were going to come back around. I mean, he was the fifth date after all. Those tensions played really well. And then they got to come back together and you left us wondering.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also,
You too, just to thank you to the Knowledge Project for inviting us to do this. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh, but it really just, it's a wonderful combination to actually take a moment and show a process of how we can collaborate. And then you show a result or something that was actually done, and then you take it to its fullest, see how it's performed. That's the richest thing that you all could give us, because that is kind of how that world works, be it film, be it radio, be it, television a little tighter, film a little different, but you transport us. And that's what I love about visual storytelling or radio even.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, I wanted to say, all of you, I just loved the acting, because I thought, even though it was a fake Staten Island ferry, whatever, I thought that you played it really well. And I thought this could go creepy, like they're alone on this boat. So there was this underlying suspense, and there was also, there was so much conflict, and I think the word pivot really describes it. And I also knew a lot more about them, even though we weren't hanging out with you for, what was it, 25 minutes or not even. You kind of really painted, as the writer, and then by these amazing actors, you kind of really painted a lot of detail about who they were. So I totally believed it. And then the pandemic is so inherently dramatic, but you didn't like overly pandemicize it. Like, it was kind of a third character, but they were who they were. So I like that. It could have all been about, pandemic. So good job.
It was mentioned because we're all there, and to ignore it is kind of like saying a big elephant in the room, but it really is about people and how we deal with each other. And that's a nice way, because regardless of if it's COVID or whatever challenge we have, I mean, that's our repetition. We would get up in the morning and we're facing it again, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to know where you're going to go from here. This could be a whole, bunch of
series.
I mean, there's always Bachelor number 6, right?
Exactly.
They only made it one ride.
That's
true.
What's happening with the captain steering the ship?
There you go.
Wow.
And then you can go reality, and you can actually do it on the Staten Island ferry, and that's a whole different arena.
I will tell you that the Staten Island ferry was where all the cheap dates happened. Like, my sister and brother-in-law, when they were college kids, they met, and they took a lot of Staten Island ferry dates because it was a nickel. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Still
really back there.
How expensive is it now?
Push them overboard. Just push them overboard. Hysterical. Sarah, well done. I have to go, but well done. Love you, sweetheart.
That's good.
I have a question for Sarah, actually. When writing this for Zoom, what kind of things did you have to keep in mind as a writer? Like, are you thinking small casts? Are you thinking like certain kinds of physicalities need to be limited, or like what kind of things do you keep in mind when you're writing for Zoom?
Well, it's interesting. I took this very intensive boot camp called Writing Tinder for Ghosts with Miriam Grill. And we learned a lot over the many rewrites and watching. Basically, you just learn by doing. There's no other way to it. I don't think there's a book. What do they say in screenwriting? Show, don't tell.
Yeah.
I think that's how you learn how to do stuff, and especially as a writer. You just have to see what works and what doesn't work. And Miriam and I had a lot of experience of that this summer. So.
Very cool.
Also, it helps when you have like two fabulous actors and an amazing director who like do your stuff. It also doesn't.
It doesn't hurt in the least, that's for sure. And that worked brilliantly. But then, so how many revisions did you do? And then will you go back to feel after seeing it and hearing it? Do you feel there's more to do, or you need to reflect on it?
This was like written as a 10-minute play actually for a contest. So I probably will just continue doing my various projects, and then if someone was like, oh, we want you to expand this piece, I would just pick it up and do it. But usually I have like lots of pots on the stove. So I usually work on a bunch of stuff and then I let them go. And then if someone's like, hey, what about that? Can we do that? I'm like, yeah, we can do that. Why not? So I'm pretty like juggler.
That's a good way of being.
Some chats. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that this has been a great experience for all of us. And I thank you, Miriam. I thank you, Yanni.
Yoni, yeah,
I didn't want to say that wrong.
you're good.
Isabel? Is that
Dawn.
Oh, Dawn. Because I
Dawn.
kept seeing on your screen, Isabel.
Isabel.
You kept saying Dawn, and I was going, it's Dawn, Meg, it's Dawn. And then it went out of my head. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Really. And Sarah, you're a gem. You're extraordinary. You're so much fun.
Good.
I have to just keep following you and doing things with you.
But beneath that fun, there's a lot of serious stuff. That's what's so great.
Oh, it's brilliant. Yes. Yeah. It wouldn't be so captivating if it wasn't smart. So, and we thank all of you for coming for this evening, and we hope you'll sign up for the other master classes. There's more to come. We'll have some more writing to do tomorrow, and you'll get some really wonderful insights to the language of music on Wednesday, and then a perspective of how you might look at art from a very wonderful artist, writer, art historian. It's on Thursday. And then we'll all be working to do our own startup deck with Neha from Egypt on Monday. But that's a luncheon. So, you know, bring your luncheon things and ideas for the next startup, and we'll all enjoy it.
Yay.
She will be live on Zoom from India.
Yes.
So that should be interesting.
So thank you again from the Knowledge Project, and John, Sheila, Sadaf, thank you very much for everything you've contributed.
Thank you.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a great evening, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Good night, thank you
Bye.
again.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.